Welcome back, Shakespeareans. This is the third and final episode of our introduction. In the last video, CeleXy was talking about circles, spirals, and then moving into roller coasters. Let's pick up where we left off. But the spiral, the very essence of its name, is movement up and down, up and down, more like a roller coaster with ebbs and flows, like the waves of the water. Sometimes you're flowing up and sometimes you're flowing down. Sometimes you're flowing upstream and sometimes you're flowing downstream. You going with the flow. No longer are we like the tree planted by the water that says, I shall not be moved. No, no, no. We like the serpent, honey. The Kundalini energy is in the universe right now. Okay, I know I lost probably a whole bunch of, what the hell is she talking about now? I apologize. I'm tapped in, tuned in, tapped in, turned up and tuned in to a lot of things that many of us are not familiar with. But now that you've heard me mention it, I've planted a seed. I've sown a seed. Let that thing germinate in you. Allow curiosity to allow you to find out what's going on in the dark. As those seeds that I have planted throughout this conversation begin to take root in you, because I have already laid out the affirmation, and therefore my word has become law, because I divine that I am a master builder of my own destiny. I am the author and finisher of my faith. I write my journey, and then I choose to have amnesia or forget that journey, or create a veil between me and thee, so that we're absent from one another, so that that version of me who came into awareness is not the version of me that passes over to the other side. Because in order for me to thoroughly have a grand experience with surprises and unmet expectations and interruptions and distractions and people knocking me off my A game and knocking me off my square and causing me to bend and bow and all this and conform and all that, and putting me inside this box and putting these boundaries around me and placing limitations upon me and attempting to minimize me or criminalize me or diminish me. You know, I created all that because I need the pressure. Bring on the pressure. I am constructing a new, more powerful version of me. I can rebuild her. For I have sovereign authority over this vessel, this Vimana, this temple, this Merkaba, this body, and everything within. It did not come without effort, commitment, curiosity, compassion, love, courage. Cougar, sexy black women or sexy white women or sexy Asian women or sexy Latino women, sexy Hispanic women, sexy feminine, sexy divine, feminine. They're not sexy because of what you see with the physical eye. We are sexy simply by the sheer nature of who and what we are, dear hearts, and so are you. Don't get it twisted. The essence of the divine feminine includes everyone. It is not about the physical vessel of a female image, a woman with curves. It is not about that. Rise above that level of thinking. Come and move up. What Mahalia Jackson says, move on up a little higher. Okay, I'm getting long-winded. Look at that. I'm getting long-winded. Okay, I'm going to wrap this thing up. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to explore it. I'm going to look at your comments. And then I'm going to attempt to pick up where I left off in the next conversation. Final thought. Become a Shakespearean. Choose to become a Shakespearean. Start knocking down all those bridges and choose to go through the experience. You want to expand your consciousness. You want to expand your life. You want to prosper. You want to increase in abundance. Guess what? Those things occur first on the inside. They first occur on the inside. Become more loving. Allow your heart to open up and give love. Give love until you can't give any, until you feel like you have nothing left, until you feel as though you yourself are depleted. Sometimes for some of us, we must be depleted of all the love that we have within us so that new love, a new level of love, a new expression of love can begin to regenerate within us. A new expression of love then will radiate out from within us. A new way of thinking. Sometimes you got to forget your memories. Sometimes you got to let go of those old ways of thinking. Sometimes you have to learn to enjoy and embrace the interrupting thoughts, the competing thoughts, the inspired thoughts, because there are different levels and versions of thoughts too. Ooh, yes. As many of there is of me and you, there are many different methodologies. I have my thoughtology, you have your thoughtology, and it is based on your experience in this wisdom cosmicology that we live in. So as many perspectives as there is us, as there are beings. Yes! So how could we ever truly know everything if we don't go within where the connectivity begins and ends? We are the World Wide Web. I know. Oh, I know. I feel so good right now. I'm so inspired right now. And you know what? As long as that phone allows me to continue to record, I'm going to keep talking. I'll just break it up into multiple videos. Or, you know, you can always pause, stop, come back and pick up where you left off. Because I'm on a roll. I can't stop. I won't stop. I'm the master builder. There are no rules, limitations, and boundaries unless I impose them. Therefore, I also have the authority to break them. That's true freedom. That's true freedom. I'm embracing this transformation. So what if I may not ever be able to operate in the physical aspect of one physical aspect of the matrix? Because Mother Earth's womb is expansive. There are many different ways in which you can express. Sure, go ahead, get your degrees, you know, excel scholarly, academically, do those things. Do those things because we are beings having a human experience in a material realm. That's why we came here. There are those in the skies who admire us down here in the physical realm. So understand and know. I was thinking the other day, I wrote this down. I thought it was very profound. And so I'm going to share with you some of my highest inspired thoughts. Some of it might kind of sound like poetry. Some of it you may not be able to understand, but if I can somehow stay on that particular track, I will attempt to break down the meaning of that. But I'm going to also acknowledge the covering that I've already put over this recording, that no matter where you are, no matter what level you're on, no matter what frequency you're operating at, or what rate of vibration, this communication that's going forth is being disseminated right where you are. It's being translated right where you are, in your own language, at your own level of comprehension. Do you feel it? This is a timeless recording. It has value today, June 3rd, 2021. And it will have value for you through infinity and beyond. We've always had the power. Yet the power that works in me while also the power that works in you, that power that works in us both simultaneously, that works in us all simultaneously, manifests and expresses differently in each of us. That's the wonderful thing about this spectrum, about light. Light has the ability to divide itself, to refract itself, to become fractional, yet never lose intensity of light. Actually becomes more beautiful in our sight. Light, living, life. Whew. So anyway, I'm gonna share some of these inspired thoughts that I had the other night, and then put on my spectacles, and hopefully I can interpret my own writing here. And again, I'm gonna claim that affirmation that I laid forth before. We will always want something that we are not. We will always want something that we are not until we recognize, until we rework the pattern of thinking, until we rework the pattern of feeling, until we rework the power of intuition, until we rework those cogwheels. We will always want, desire, covet, feel like we're operating in lack and limitation because we don't have in our possession the things that we want. And we will always be that way, which is a form of lost, an inability to overcome a fear, until we recognize that we are already everything. We will always want, desire, crave, covet something that we are not until we recognize that we are everything. That's a pathway that leads to unconditional love. I'm giving you a high-level piece to a puzzle. Save it. It's your queen piece. It's your trump. It's your checkmate. Bing! It's how you shake fear. You will always find yourself wanting and then consuming. And I want you to know that you can be overcome by consumption. If you look it up, it's going to tell you that only TB can overtake the body through consumption. But I come to tell you that an imbalanced being, a being who does not recognize who they are, can be overtaken by consumption. Can an orange consume another orange? Can this cup consume this glass? Does the apple want another apple? Does the car want another car? How can you want something you already are? That's how connected I want you to. That is how connected should you choose to be to everything you could experience. And that's probably not even the height of it. That's the height of where my mind can go right now, based on my experiences. How much more could you ever want? Or how could you ever feel like lack, or feel like you're living in lack and limitation, that you don't have something you need, want, or desire, when you are everything? You need only lay hand on it. But don't be quick to lay your hands on everything. Just because you are everything doesn't mean that you need to lay your hands on it. Enjoy it from a distance. Enjoy it from a distance. There's an image I was sharing with my niece yesterday. We were talking about an image I think I seen on some platform on social media. And the image is 2 frames. It's kind of cartoonish. And in one frame, it's a family of, or 3 or 4 people. It looks like a family, father, mother, daughter, son, or whatever, at a table. And they have these long handled spoons taped to their arms. And the other arm, I believe, is behind their back, or, you know, somehow secured and they can't use it. And then there's a big bowl of food in the middle of the table. But the people that's sitting in room 1 look like they have starved to death. The kettle is still filled with food, and there they sit, starved to death, with their long handled spoons. And then the picture or the image on the other side, it's the exact same looking people, cartoon characters or comic characters, and they look healthy and happy. They have these big smiles on their face. They're nice and plump, and they also have the long handled spoons connected to them. The difference between group 1 and group 2, or group A and group B, is that in group B, they somehow discovered, because when they found themselves hungry with this kettle of food in front of them and these long handled spoons and the inability to use the other hand, they found themselves lost. So somehow, either one of them received inspired thought, or they all received the inspired thought at the same time, and somebody said, let's choose to feed each other. And that's how we overcome this fear of starvation. They fed each other with those long hands. I can't feed myself with this long-handled spoon, but I can feed you, and then you therefore can feed me. Yeah, that's simple. That's simple. When we work together, how much more powerful are we? Because I would guess, and I believe the meme even kind of alludes to the fact that the people in the room who starved were only focusing on themselves, because they didn't recognize that they represented everybody at the table. Whether you're father, mother, son, or daughter, you represent everybody at the table. When everybody at the table works together, you get the job done. It's that simple. It's not rocket science. But then again, maybe it is. You know, you got to want to explore this thing called life. You got to be curious to get on that level of thinking. I fell in love when I was writing. When I first began writing, I fell in love with the Bennu bird, or the phoenix, and everything that it represents. Look it up. Look it up. I'm going to tell you that again. I may post some resources to this video, but I just really choose, I really would prefer, make your own choice. Make your own choice. But if I share and you choose to use the resources, fine. If I share and you choose not to, fine. The way it works, or the way it worked for me, and you don't have to choose the same path. But curiosity. If you say something that piques my curiosity, if I hear something that piques my curiosity, if something gets my attention, if something rubs me the wrong way, I got to find out why. I'm curious. That's who I am. I'm an explorer. And I will boldly go where no one has gone before. Trust and believe. If there's something that you want to know about, something you want to find out about, I will create the time in my schedule to both find that answer, especially if it's something I too am curious about. So trust and believe. You got something you're curious about? I may already know the answer, but if I don't, and I'm curious too, we gonna get it. We're gonna get an explanation. It may not be the whole of it. It may just be one or a combination of perspectives, but we will begin to work our way to the top of the matter. Trust and believe. We will always want something that we are not until we recognize that we are everything. That is the key, or one of the keys, to becoming a master builder. When you recognize that not only now that you have demonstrated sovereignty over yourself, that you're a good steward over your vessel, that you are in alignment, that you seek to maintain some level of balance. It's not to say that you're always on the straight and narrow. There are some things, there's a way that seems right to a man, but sometimes you must go left, and sometimes you must split the hairs and go straight through the middle. Everyone has a different path. When you become a master builder, you create those alternate pathways. You create them. They have said and they, being scientists and researchers, have said that we have the power to reprogram our thoughts, our mind, our patterns of behavior, our patterns of thinking, so much so that as the chemist on the inside, reworking these chemistries, reworking these hormones, reworking these cell structures, reworking these organs, as you are being the master builder on the inside, there is a subsequent and alternate manifestation that occurs externally outside of you. Of course, your appearance is going to change. Once you go through something, you will come forth brand new. This is death right here in the middle. This is death right here in the middle. See, even on my hourglass, once you pass through to the other side, there's no more you on the other side. Now I'm talking on the individual level right here. Before I was talking about the collective, but on the individual level, now that you have passed through the membrane, through the middle passage, you've gone from Upper Egypt to Lower Egypt, or from Lower Egypt to Upper Egypt, depending on which pathway you're, where you are in the cycle. But it's no longer a cycle that moves like this. It's more like this. Oh yeah. We're moving through the four corners of the earth and everything in between there. Baby, there's so many experiences to be had in this thing we call life on the physical realm. It never has to stop. Your consciousness can just continue to expand, and we all benefit from that collectively. For we are the Federation. We are, oh my goodness. Okay, I know. Y'all gonna be like, she's cool. I'm gonna share one more little pearl. It's a clue. These are those things. Yeah, it's a clue. I'm gonna say the distracting thoughts are, little free pearls of wisdom along this journey of conversation. But this is what I'm offering you at the end, at this ending, at this particular juncture. It's a clue. It's a breadcrumb. Okay. This is one of those, these are some of those things that if you do find yourself in a lost situation and you need some tools to build a bridge, because perhaps you're tired and you just don't have the energy that it takes to go through the experience. And so therefore, this time you're going to build a bridge. You're going to need some tools to build those bridges. Okay. So consider these, phrases, statements, quotes from me, as a tool to put in your tool belt for when you have to build those bridges. As the grass crusheth underfoot, though making a way for safe passage. As the grass crusheth underfoot, though making a way for safe passage. Okay, there's one of my Shakespearean quotes from my own inspired thought, my thoughtology. Celeste, what does that mean? The mind freak in me will tell you that. Take it literally. If you walk outside in the grass barefoot, do it barefoot. Why do it any other way? If you're going to walk on someone's lawn, even your own, whoa, that was my stomach. Respect nature. Respect her. And walk nature to nature, natural on natural. Walk naturally on the grass, and the grass will bend for you. The grass will crush it under your foot to enable your safe passageway. And then when you turn back to look upon that which enabled your safe passage, it'll look like you never even walked that way. The road that you're on, the path that you're on disappears once you pass it. When you become the master builder, it's like no U-turn. You can't go backward. Like you Why would you want to? So anyway, when you become the master builder, and this is me speaking from my own experience, I choose to allow that pathway to disappear once I'm laying brick down as I go, right? I'm going through the experience. So I'm laying my path brick by brick. There is no path there. My bricks are the disappearing kind. Those are the ones I choose to use so that I never even have the option of going back. I don't want the option to go back. I've done that repeat thing when I was riding the merry-go-round. Now I'm on a roller coaster where there's ebbs and flow. And when I get off one roller coaster, I'm in line to get on another one, a bigger and better one, a more scarier one. I'm going through the haunted house, and each time I'm going through a scarier haunted house because I want to. It's intentional. I built the haunted house. I built the things that are going to jump out and scare me. I built the things that are going to cause me to fall and stumble and fall. I built them. I created them. This is my video game. And this is my confessional for She Shakes Fear. As though the grass crushes underfoot, though making way for safe passage. The grass and the path will yield to the Creator, to the Builder, to the Master Builder. You've always had the power within you, Dorothy. Click your heels 3 times, Dorothy. The power has always been within you. Your friends along your path were the external manifestations of the distant aspects of you, dear heart. The Tin Man, he represented your heart. The lion represented your courage, that gut instinct, that flight or fight response, that root chakra, that which keeps you grounded, connected to the earth. And then the scarecrow, a man of straw, giving the illusion of a man and having a head, but no brain, no mind, no ability to think. And Toto, wisdom. The alchemy of them all 3. And then Dorothy herself, the ego, the subconscious mind, or the unconscious mind. The jury is still out on that. I say that the ego is that program running by default. It's your operating system, your operating system until it's not. When you become a master builder, you get to upgrade your operating system. I love, it's so funny because I always have a tendency to think of the human body as like the grand machine, like the best computer ever, the best personal computer ever to be created is the one you build yourself, because there's Intel inside. But anyway, so on that note, I'm gonna go ahead and close because I feel like the link to connectivity is starting to disintegrate. So that's an indication that it's time for me to part. Again, make sure you keep those 2 interesting tools at the end that I shared. Oh, one more elaboration on the grass, on the one last quote. As the grass crushes underfoot, though making way for safe passage. You are going to hurt some feelings along the way. There are going to be people, as you traverse through your path, through your journey, along your blueprint, you are going to hurt some feelings along the way. It will not be intentionally. You are not going to be able to concern yourself with what people take to heart. As long as your intentions are pure, but you must first put yourself first. There can be no progress outside of you if there's no progress first inside of you. So you must always put yourself first. This is not about being selfish as much as it is being about selfless. You recognize that anyone else that is not expressing at the same level that you are is a different version of you. There is no communion between light and dark. Oil does not mix with water. You do not go backward as a master builder. So you are not able to have fellowship with something that a vessel, a being that is operating on a different level of frequency and rate of vibration than you, is to place an anchor around your ankle. Is to create a drag in your life. You can't go with the flow if something is dragging on your energy. You can't do it. This is a solo adventure. Understand and know this is a solo adventure. As the master builder, it says you will become the master builder, not you and your spouse, you and your lover, you and your mate, you and your other. No. It's about you. You come into this world by yourself. You will leave by yourself. And true master buildership, the true bricklaying, is learned independent of everyone else, because everyone else is you and they serve a role in your progression. So don't get caught up. Those aspects of a previous version of you, think of them as like ghosts in Miss Pac-Man. They come to devour. Those are the enemy. Those are the devils, but they're used. They're inner me's. They're inner versions of you in a previous existence. Don't get caught up by that. Don't get trapped up by that. They come in the forms of friends, men, relationships, jobs, everything, food, junk. They come in all forms, shapes, and sizes, but they have a lower frequency than you. Do not connect with those along your path unless you choose to have that experience. But master builders will recognize them. They will see the signs immediately because their eyes open, that spiritual eye, that all-seeing eye, because they've inherited that 360 view. The only way you can get a 360 view is to recognize that everyone else is an aspect of you. The reason why we have this collective knowledge, this huge expanse and body of knowledge, is because we are all tapped into the same thing. We are all extensions of the same vine, the same tree. For we are the root and we are the branches. And we are the central unifying concept in the middle. Divided yet not consumed. Divided yet unified at the same time. How is that possible? They call that a paradox. How can we be both together and separate at the same time? How can we be both unified and divided at the same time? How can we be all and one at the same time? It's a paradox. Don't try to understand it. Don't try to overstand it. Stand in that truth. When you know who you are, you will know exactly what I'm talking about. This is a timeless conversation. This is a timeless sharing of information. It has no expiration date. It matters not when you partake of the good food that I am sharing with you. The good food for your soul and your soul's expansion into unification, singularity. An alpha and omega experience is what we call it. SheSHAKESfear with CeleXy. Thank you for expressing and sharing and energizing with me. Wholeness, balance, and great vibrations in the words of my brother Seven Bomar. Peace and love in the words of my friend AP. And namaste. The God in me sees the God in you. Go forth and be a blessing.
My life, my way for sure.